Welcome back to the Probie to Pro video series. Today, we are going to be talking about deadheading and what it means to be released from a deadhead. By now, many of you have probably deadheaded somewhere in your first few months. It will happen a lot during your career, so let's talk about the relevant contractual provisions. Contract Section 12 Golf is where you'll find everything about deadheading. First, deadheading at the beginning and end of a pairing are changeable or releasable per the contract in 12 Golf 3. You can change them in agreement with scheduling or the company to a time that works better for you. You can also be released from a deadhead or series of deadheads that begin or end a pairing, but more on that in a minute. The other important thing to point out here is that if you have a duty period that is a deadhead only because of an unscheduled overnight due to a divert or cancellation, scheduling can offer you a deadhead at 9 hours of rest instead of the required 11-hour overnight. This exception allows you to keep your deadhead and the guaranteed seat that comes with that while still getting home earlier. The next paragraph discusses the option to take a rideshare like Uber or Lyft between two stations that are close to each other instead of a double deadhead. Think of a double deadhead that would take you from Burbank to LAX or from San Jose to Oakland. You'll still get the credit for the deadhead and you will be reimbursed for the rideshare. You'll just get home a lot earlier. Just remember that scheduling must approve this in advance and put a note on your board in order for you to get reimbursed. Paragraph 6 talks about deadheading standards. When you're deadheading, you are considered part of the crew. You will be allowed to board once the crew is on board the aircraft. As a matter of courtesy to the working crew, it is best to wait at the bottom of the jet bridge until the flight attendants have boarded and gotten settled in before boarding the airplane. If you have identified yourself as a deadheading crew member and the gate agent denies you pre-boarding for some reason, fill out the pre-board denial form on swappa.org or the app once we get it added there this fall. Contract admin will investigate the issue and you may be paid 2 TFP. When the company implements assigned seating, we are guaranteed not to be assigned a middle seat, a seat in the last row, or a non-premium seat, if those are available. Paragraph 7 talks about being released from deadheads, which can be super useful. You can get released 24 hours prior to check-in from a deadhead or a series of deadheads at the beginning of a pairing. Just keep in mind that you will be responsible for getting yourself to the first operating leg. This is a great tool for commuters to either pick up the pairing at their commute city or commute directly to the first operating leg in the pairing instead of commuting to domicile and then deadheading a leg or two. You can also be released from deadheads at the end of a pairing by calling crew scheduling. So let's say you pick up extra fly from a reserve that has a few legs on day 1 and a deadhead only on day 2. If you finish flying on day 1 and there is a flight home that same day, you can call and be released from the deadhead and get home on the first day. You still retain the pay from the deadhead as if you had been on the flight. Just remember that once you are released, you are on your own to get home.
Also, like we discussed in the reserve rules video, there is a caveat from being released from a deadhead when you are on reserve. If you are on the last day of your reserve block, you can be released if your deadheads are scheduled to get back to domicile more than 7 hours after report. If you have a wrap remaining though, you will have to deadhead back to base.
One last thing before we sign off. As we mentioned in the overrides video, if you are reassigned from deadheading on a flight to operating that same flight, that is known as a deadhead promote, and it triggers leg change override. Okay, that's all for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.